Level 1 recording is where you just walk around a pond, ideally your own pond, between 30 and 60 minutes, and it's just a visual survey. So that means that you're looking in the pond to see what wildlife you can spot.
Do you put the tray in and the net with the level 1?
No netting.
Okay.
It's just visual.
Just visual on the surface.
Yeah, on the surface.
Yeah, okay.
So, and that survey is between January and May.
Right.
The reason it's at that time is because amphibians are breeding, so you visually can see signs of them without having to go and be quite intrusive and net into their environment. So people walk round, or I've been to some school ponds where they're literally like a flutter, and so the students, they sit there for 20 minutes watching.
Okay.
So it is quite mindful. And they have to write down what they see. So that's the important bit, is telling us what they've seen.
Okay.
And the amazing thing about this survey is that even if you do the survey and you see nothing, it's still really important, because that means that you've done the effort of sitting there, but you haven't seen anything, and then we know
it might not be around that area.
Yes, or that we can then follow that things up with like water quality tests.
Okay, amazing.
See why aren't there amphibians here?
Okay.
So that's level 1. It's just visually looking, walking or sitting, 30 minutes, and it's one-off. You don't have to do multiple surveys.
Okay.
Once. You can do it as many times as you like, but it's not like a set number of times.
Okay.
So that's level 1.
That's level 1. Okay.
So level 2 is where you need training, and we provide that training normally in January time, but I also do follow-ups. So if anyone wants to join in like March time, I normally do a session on this site, just like one-on-one, or I don't know.
Okay.
And the training is a half day.
Okay.
And the reason people have to be trained is because of Jersey wildlife law. It's changed.
Okay.
It changed last year.
Yeah, I was looking,
So the Jersey wildlife law now states that to do pond dipping, you need a licence. And a licence is the government issue you. And so to be covered under that licence, you are you have to do the training.
Yeah.
And get your name ticked off on the list.
Okay.
The training also gives people ID skills. So, you know, on that guide, I had lots of pictures of bugs you can find. And John goes into quite depth about invasive plant species. You might find different types of freshwater invertebrates, dragonfly ID. He has links for other things that you might spot. So it allows people to go into more depth. But if they want to, they can just do exactly the same as the level 1s, but they do it 5 times.
Okay, they do it 5 times.
So this survey states that you have to do it 5 times.
And does the training, like if they're going to do one-on-one sessions with you, does that cost money, or is this
that's all free?
All for free.
No,
okay,
all
that's
for
great.
Free. And it's because we want people to feel supported in their recording. And also we only offer the training once, so if you're working, you're going to miss it. Or I know sometimes it is on a Saturday. Not everybody has that day off. So I always say, like, if you want to, I can do it in the week or an evening.
Okay.
So the level 2 is exactly the same as the level 1, but it's built on. So instead of 1 survey, it's 5. You have to do 5 surveys, visually looking, and they spend an hour visually looking, or up to an hour, depends on the size of your pond.
And do they get allocated a pond at the same pond, or can they go to 5 different ponds?
No, it has to be 5 surveys at 1 pond.
Okay.
So on this site, Genny, who's a student, she did this pond, and then there's some further up along here that are slightly different, which we'll go have a look at. This is a nice easy one because there's a clear boundary,
Yeah.
walk along, but the ones over there are harder.
Oh,
to
okay,
do.
yeah.
And this is why the training is provided, because it's really complicated. So when let's say we're allocated this pond, we come here on our first day, we've got a pond habitat suitability assessment, which is we have to go through all of these, and it's like a checklist. The idea is we put loads of information on here to make it quite easy for people to fill out. So pond area metres square. So we want basically to measure it.
So you actually
just estimate.
Estimate,
so if
right.
you think a metre square is like that.
Yeah.
Oh, bumblebee. I mean,
is he okay?
Is about that big, yeah?
Yeah.
So how many metre squares can you fit in? Just estimate. That's the first thing.
Okay.
So it can be quite complex if you don't actually do the pond. It's not your pond. We've got a number of years in 10 that the pond dries up. This one, it never dries. Rarely, sometimes dries annually. This one, it's a garden pond. We've got water fountains. It's going to be never.
Okay.
Water quality, bad, and it gives you what to look for. Clearly polluted, only polluted, some invertebrates, no plants. This one's quite hard to do if you can't see. And the ponds up there, in January, I couldn't see anything.
Right, yeah.
And so I kind of was just like, I'll go for middle here. I think that there's, when I had done a dip, I got quite a few bugs in the tub. So I was like, well, moderate. There's some bugs here. Percentage perimeter shaded. 0 here. So when we go to the other one, we'll see. Waterfowl impact. So are there ducks? That means. So are there ducks? Or seagulls? I just saw a seagull drop in there. Fish. They're present? Fish in here. Don't think in this one, but there are in the others. Number of ponds within 1 kilometre. This we sometimes do when you look at a map. It's easier to see. They get terrestrial habitat, none, clearly no suitable habitat within the pond. And this is why we do training, is because we tell people what a suitable habitat for a amphibian is.
Yeah.
So if you look there, you've got that beautiful woodland. That's perfect habitat for amphibians. We've got the garden down here. There's lots of like cubby holes within the bushes that they can use. That's suitable habitat. Aquatic vegetation, which they say from March to May to go have a look at that.
Okay.
Just because in winter it's harder to see in the pond. And then it asks you only have to do this once.
So this is page 2.
Yeah. Page 2. It's a tick list where you tick up to 3 of the dominant habitat types within 0 to 5 metres. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 5. So 5 metres all around.
Yeah.
And then 100 metres. And it's just the top 3 dominant ones. What we sometimes suggest volunteers to do is actually look at Google Maps. Because if you're in a garden, you don't know what your neighbour's garden looks like.
Yeah.
You can kind of get a good visual on Google Maps just to see, I am actually surrounded by gardens.
Okay.
And it's just 3. You just tick the 3 most dominant ones. And it has a little... Again, it's really a little comment, so
To
help people understand. So like what that means is it means the splash zone. This is very complex. It was not my decision to put this in. If it was my decision, I would not have included this. I would have got a researcher to go to each of the ponds and do it.
Okay.
Because remember, this is citizen science.
Yeah.
We should only really expect so much from people.
Okay.
But
Okay, I get that.
I was out.
Outnumbered. Okay. Oh gosh.
So that's it. That's prep done, and now we can do 5 dips.
Okay.
Now you can do actually pond dipping, which is really fun, and we suggest people do that. But amphibians are nocturnal, so we also suggest people do torch torching. Torching is where you get a torch and you run it along the pond.
Just the surface,
Yeah,
right?
just the surface.
Oh, cool.
And you'll see amphibians. And that is really fun.
Wow.
To do.
What time? At night?
Time.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been out here at like 11 o'clock.
And they let you in here?
Yeah, so they want their pond surveyed. So,
oh, wow.
So I've only seen amphibians twice in the day here, but I've seen loads at night.
Wow, I want to do that.
We suggest people print these sheets off. And when we do the training, we actually print them for people.
Okay.
And they can take a pack home.
That's great.
So we are reducing that barrier to printing facilities.
Okay.
We print out a big document that's a how-to guide as well, which we have back at the office I can give you.
Oh, that would be
So I'm giving
great.
it today actually, I don't know why I didn't do that. So we give people as much as we can, as well as providing them with links if they lose things. So survey number, the date, start and end time, rain, and this is the bit that if you can't access all of your pond, the percentage shoreline surveyed is really helpful for us to see your effort. So let's say when we go down there, actually you'll see it, you can't get to the whole shoreline, so you only might be able to look at 20%, but that's really a nice key bit of information.
So the shoreline being like here.
That's it.
Yeah, okay.
So where you can actually access the water line
Yeah,
to see what's in the pond.
okay.
Supplementary species. So you have the option to look at invasive or dragonflies, but it's optional. So supplementary species is optional.
Okay.
What method did you use? Did you visual or net or torch? If you are netting, they ask you what percentage of the shoreline you netted. So let's say I'm surveying this pond now, I'm not going to net the whole, I'd be here forever, netting the whole shoreline. Maybe I'll net 10%,
Yeah.
or 20% of it, and I'll do a visual around the whole edge.
Okay.
We wouldn't expect people to, unless it's a really tiny pond, people to net.
This, would take
It would take
quite a while, yeah.
The most important bit is what people see. So Genny's written here that she's seen a ramshore snail, and she's certain that it was that type of snail. We have an option for life stage and sex, and that's because if you do find amphibians and you've netted them, you can actually tell the difference.
Okay.
So, and that's part of the training, is we go into how to tell the difference between the two.
Okay.
Level ones, it's just this newt, or
Okay.
this toad,
Yeah.
or this frog. We don't need to know the sex.
Okay.
But
level two
level
is
two,
more
we
in
really
depth.
want to know that.
Yeah.
Again, some other supplementary information, different types of plants you can see, and then some very, very quick questions of when did you see the first spawn this year? Do migrating toads get run over? Have you seen a grass snake? Have you carried out water testing? And they need to do that 5 times.
Okay.
This first bit of information that we looked at, the habitat information, you only do that once.
Okay. And then
5 of these.